We're back.
Oh, yeah,
for
which camera are we looking at?
yeah,
right?
I don't know. But thanks for joining us again. This is the AniUmai podcast with your TeamUmai cast and co-host. We got Sai, Chris, and me. We're back again for the first episode of our summer watch. Summer anime is here. Spring is over and brought for us a plethora of new and interesting series to watch, which we watched 3 more today, as always, and
Mixed feelings.
mixed feelings. Yes, quite a step in, but this is gonna be up. If you're also speaking to the future of us, if you've met us at Otakon and you decided to check out our latest episode, this should be out Friday the 28th.
Hopefully.
See if you can find us around. We might be doing some little trivia questions and games around there. We'll be holding these microphones and seeing what we can do. This is all new. This is our first convention we're going to where we have this little channel set up and things. And
It was born because of Otakon.
Yes,
yeah,
it
this
was
time
born.
last year.
Yep.
We talked about it.
We were like, we can do this better. And
here we are, not
multiple
doing better.
multiple face plants forward. Yeah, we're smooth sailing.
Yeah, we
ever
definitely
since.
set today up in like 2 minutes.
Yeah,
Like, we were so quick.
This is the fastest we've ever gotten everything together, I think.
I guess so.
Yeah,
In terms of what, setting up this?
everything,
Or like the whole, hey, are we
everything
recording?
on time.
Well, I woke up a
Start to
little
finish
late.
each one. I will say we finished exactly at the time mark we should have for watching 3 series, but we had some technical difficulties of
Very minor.
just some personal issues that we had to take care of before we could start this up, which is also apologies, and I'm sure I apologized in the last episode again too about the delay in episodes, trips, people, work, things like that.
life.
Life.
Is happening. And things happen, and we have to work
Yep.
around it.
Yeah.
We try to stay on schedule as much as possible. We're excited for Otakon, though. That's the biggest
Yeah,
thing.
that'll
Yeah.
be the life of this podcast for those 4 days that we're there. But yeah, let's get into it. It's summer season. I hope you liked the review of spring, which I feel like we matched up pretty accurately with a lot of other anime socials with our bracket tier list.
For the most part.
Spot on.
Yeah. But we let's not waste any time and dive into it. We started off with calling back to our is it anime or is it AI? The much anticipated
Reborn as a vending machine. Now I wander the dungeon.
yes, the isekai vending machine
Awaited.
long awaited story is finally here, and we watched it. And I've been talking a lot so far. So what are your
Well, first of all, going back
yeah.
to that, I feel like when we played the game, is it anime or AI?
Yeah, which you guys did awful.
Yeah,
Quite
well,
awful.
we were tricked.
I was so nervous that I was like, oh, these are gonna be too easy. Maybe
Clearly.
they're just so dumb. I should have spent more time thinking of these. And nope.
But a lot of like isekais have dumb names.
Yeah.
That don't sound like they're actually anime.
Which the other one we watched, which wasn't an isekai, did have a very dumb name too.
Yeah.
I will say this, though. More importantly, when we played that game, I won and got a T-shirt. But
Yeah.
Chris,
I lost and still got a t-shirt. But what I was going to say, I'm pretty sure someone said before this vending machine anime was announced that they're going to make an isekai about being a vending machine. Am I remembering that correctly? Like someone
I think it was announced.
It's
Called
the
that?
latter. I set everything up, and we talked about it before once.
because you got mad when we got it wrong.
I think this was in episode 1 or 2, actually.
Throwback.
2. Yeah, I think it was in 2, where we were talking about just like the craziness of like anime and isekai, and I think it was I brought it up saying like, oh, there's going to be I either brought up the series or I brought up the manga because I did read the manga, which I need to go back. I forgot to double check and do some research of it. If there are two vending machine isekais or if they changed the original plot point of this, because this did not have the same opening as the one that I read. And I'll dive into
There was
that.
more backstory. There was more.
There was a
like,
different
characters.
backstory, yes,
Yeah.
that it seems like, because I remember
We
when we
did
watched
talk
the
about
trailer,
it,
I was like,
yeah.
I don't remember it being like that, and to me would have, like always, led to a bigger impact of the thing. But yeah, and then when we did is it Isekai or AI, that was the last final one, which I got so mad because you guys were like, oh, it's obviously AI, and I'm like, no, it's the one we literally talked about that's coming out, and you're like,
it was late at night. It's we were
Was it?
tired.
I feel-
I don't remember. It was either really early. I know we recorded one really early once, and we
One
done
really late.
One really
Yeah.
late one.
Yeah. Well,
you want to read off the synopsis of it?
yeah. Let me
Give a little
pull it
breakdown.
up real quick.
Quickity quick.
All right, synopsis from my anime list. It says a vending machine fanatic meets his demise when he is quite ironically crushed by a vending machine. To his dismay, he finds himself reincarnated as a vending machine in another world. Having reemerged within a forest inhabited by frogmen and other monsters and supplied with only two products. Boxo, the vending machine, requires coins to keep itself stocked, powered, and upgraded with new skills. Luckily, the automat is rescued by a young woman who quickly realizes that it is sentient, and she carries the human she carries it to a human settlement. Thereafter, the strange piece of machinery gradually makes an impact in the world around it, gaining numerous allies along the way, despite being utterly incapable of speech or movement, and communicating only by playing out pre-recorded vending machine phrases.
Wow.
That's it.
Yeah, that actually encapsulated, if I were to summarize the whole first episode, that summarized the first episode pretty,
Perfectly.
yeah,
To a
like
T.
On.
it had way more than Crunchyroll goes into. So yeah, that's your first episode right there, but
It's exclusive though to Crunchyroll.
it is streaming on Crunchyroll only, but I'm saying like
Yeah.
when we read the Crunchyroll synopsis, I feel like it's much shorter and doesn't tell anything about the episode, just the idea, and that kind of summarized the first episode to a T.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think they ever mention his human name at all. We just get introduced to this guy who's in the anime driving a scooter, and then a semi truck carrying a vending machine loses it, flies back, crushing him and bringing him to a new world where he is the vending machine that killed him. And like Chris read off, can't communicate, has to use the predetermined ones. But I guess I'll jump into it now. In the manga that I read, it was how it starts off was he was a businessman. You don't know who he is. It's same thing, like kind of just a blank slate person because it doesn't matter who he is as a person. But he was a businessman and working late, but he has a connection to vending machines, which he does bring up in this. He's like, oh my God, I'm a vending machine. My favorite thing ever.
Yeah, he said he was
But in the manga, they have 2 pages at the beginning that's about him and like how in the cold reality that is life, there's vending machines there to provide you with easy access and quick to use.
Does that look familiar?
Well, that's this.
Well, this is the chapter of the manga.
Oh yeah, yeah. You're about to prove me wrong or make me
Well, it looks like the same
misremember.
main girl character.
Oh yeah, it is the same in girl.
I wonder though. if
Nope,
they're-
I was right. It's a different one. He's a businessman.
There you go.
He's going into it, so confirmed. Thank you for that.
So
Otherwise, I was
the
gonna
manga is a little.
I wonder,
different.
but
The
I
manga is a
wonder
little
if they're gonna do a back flash, like they're
No,
gonna like look
because
back at
they
it.
show the point where he dies. In this one, he doesn't. An accident happens while he's getting something
Yeah.
out of the vending machine.
Yeah, it's this opening is way better than
Yes.
the other one.
Yes. I don't know if it was like
rush through
budget cuts or something, but it's more meaningful. He's a businessman. He's indulging in a vending machine because he thinks like, through all the like boring stuff that I have to do in life, this is always here to help and like cheer me up. with like the things that it has, and then I believe there's a car accident, it hits it or something, and he's like, no, the vending machine.
He goes in front of it.
And he goes in, that's what kills him, and that's where he gets reborn, which makes more sense of like, oh, you care about them. We realize that all in the first couple of pages of the book, which in the anime we don't. It's just he's traveling and it falls and crushes him, and then later he's like, oh, talking about how much he likes vending machines.
Yeah, I wonder why they.
I know, because those were really good pages. I think
It looks really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, like why speed through? Like why speed through? I feel like it couldn't have taken him that long.
I
to
mean,
do it,
granted,
Yeah.
like it's just as short in the anime. Like,
Yeah.
The opening. He's at the vending machine, like John said. A truck crashes like at high speed
I'll throw
next
some
to
pages up here of maybe of it.
it. Then it starts to fall over, and he's like, "If a vending machine falls at that speed, it'll break. I need to save it." And it's like,
I'm
really
vending, and that's
but
where he
then he dies, and then he's reincarnated.
Kamen Rider transforms, and but no, but yeah, I felt like that. There's always like little things like that may not have any real significance to the character development, like long term, but it sets up things like that, set up and get you right into it. I think quicker than how this did in some of the other series, like the Reborn twice, summoned twice to an alternate world did, where it just drastically changed and was like, well, that was boring. Not to say that this wasn't boring. I quite enjoyed it. It was fun, funny.
It's different than like because it's like it's not too serious.
Yeah.
It's not like some of the ones that we've seen where they're like really trying to like dig out a deep story.
And
Like,
it's
this
not
is-
too dumb like
yeah,
some of the other ones that
it's
we've
just
seen.
silly, but it's also like he. What's the word or term I'm looking for? He's okay with just becoming a vending machine
Yeah.
like, so quickly. He's just like,
Complacent.
yeah, like he's just like, oh, like there's nothing I can do now. I am a
Yeah.
vending machine.
Which
this is what I have to
would
do.
that would have, if they had the original opening of it, made a better response for that of like, oh, my life was so mundane and everything, but gave me no joy. But now, even though it's boring and repetitive, now I can bring joy at least to people. Like, I feel like again that would have led to a much
'Cause
nicer experience.
Do what the vending machine did for him as a businessman, but in the dungeon because they made people happy
Exactly.
with their treats.
Yep. But I do like, because I only read the first chapter of it, and I think it ends around where they meet the girl and him with the vending machine. But what I did like about this episode was them explaining everything, because I was curious about like, okay, we see they give him like those big anime eyes, and he's talking a lot, but all that's internal. Clearly, he doesn't have a face that they can see yet, possibly. And a voice yet that he can communicate, which I did find it interesting, where she was like, I hope one day we can communicate.
Well, it
with
definitely
each other.
alludes to it, foreshadowing.
Which it's like, man, we've had plenty of stories of romance and human love, but
oh yeah,
but
I know.
now
That's what I was thinking. Like, she's definitely gonna fall in love with a vending machine.
Yeah.
Yeah. To be honest, when I first heard about this show
From me.
from John, I was in shock. I'm like, who would come up with this idea? Actually, they're running out of ideas because they're at the point where this is something they want to make. So I was not looking forward to watching. I thought it was going to be really dumb. But like, it's a fun show.
Mm-hmm.
It's not too serious, like you said. But at the same time, because of that, I feel like there's not much else it can give. I don't see it getting any more exciting.
I don't know. I'm curious to see what upgrades he can get, and
I think that's
and
the only thing that's
yeah.
really right now is like what upgrades, but we haven't found a villain yet. We haven't found we know it's a dungeon, right? So maybe
Yeah.
something's gonna
well,
happen,
what's the enemy of vending machines?
right? Cars apparently.
So he's gonna come face to face with the demon
truck.
lord,
A semi
who's
truck.
a reincarnated guy who just
Optimus
loves
Prime.
semi trucks.
Yeah.
Optimus Prime is
But
reborn.
I mean, I definitely want to watch more of it just to see what other interesting abilities he gets.
Right, yeah.
and that and I do want to go back and reread it as I watch it to see if it's more impactful in the manga or if it's more impactful in here. Um, there's not much else to really say about
No,
it.
I mean
think.
the synopsis covered the first
Yeah,
episode.
it did a lot of
so,
the
like,
legwork for us.
everything's already said. But
Yeah.
I mean, there's some things that I guess I could talk about.
Mhm.
The art style, honestly, is not anything new. It's
Yeah.
very basic anime.
Yeah, it's clean. It's
Yeah.
clean,
I
productive
have
work.
I have no issues with visually how it looks. I think it looks
Yeah.
perfectly okay, which is good to say. It's not like, hey, it's like changing my expectations.
No,
of
it's
anime
just-
going
it's just-
forward. It's what I expect.
Yeah.
And that's good.
Out of an isekai.
It's out of an isekai, out of a interesting rebirth, which it is interesting because it still has that screen interface, but it's a menu screen
It's in
because he's a
internally.
It's in,
Yeah,
yeah,
because
it's
He says
internal. I
with
like
my
that it's
thoughts.
Yeah.
internal.
Yeah, he said my thoughts.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
So
So-
I'm curious if he's going to be able to like stock weapons and
That would be cool
and,
as an
and things like
upgrade. Yeah.
that in there.
I feel like it's kind of like campfire cooking, where like it's gonna grant them because remember she said her hits aren't hitting like when she goes
Yeah,
to
yeah,
swing
yeah,
at
yeah.
people.
Oh, special items.
Yeah, maybe like I don't know, some special item that will be like, oh,
Drink this soup and it gives you +10 to
Yeah.
power.
yeah, and then you're gonna be able to hit more accurately or something
Yeah.
like that, like a special
Oh.
special deal or something.
Yeah.
Like a
See
vending
now
machine
now
special.
you've sparked Chris's interest in it. He's like,
I mean, I'm interested to see what happens, but I'm not excited.
yeah.
Should we go to a vending machine cafe? Is that what we're gonna do now?
All right. Well, I mean, we all enjoyed it. I definitely would say go watch it. There's first 3 episodes are out now. We'll be sure to start watching it to keep track of it because we're gonna try and do a bracket for the whole season this time around.
Yep.
Because that was a lot of fun. I enjoyed very much.
We need to have air conditioning.
Yes, we do.
It's so hot.
Maybe we'll come back here and
Just
rent it for the
dying.
day
Yeah.
and
That'd
just
be more
do that because that it takes a lot out, but it's a good time. Maybe we'll bring somebody else on that just to have a fourth opinion.
Well, they need to watch all the anime.
Yeah, we'll see. or maybe we'll have somebody be the host of it, and that way we can all focus on
Right.
it. Yeah.
Apply now. No. I'm kidding.
But I'd say I'd give it a solid 7. I enjoyed it because they changed the beginning from what I remembered, and Chris verified for me. That definitely took a hard point. Otherwise, it would have been an 8 for like, okay, I get a really good emotional opening that's quick to the point, launches the whole story. But because they took that away for no real reason,
Yeah, we don't know the reason, but could not have been good.
Yeah, but everything else, great. Liked it, enjoyed it. Like the cast, the voice, and everything from there. But yeah,
What's your rating, Si?
I'm gonna be on John with this one with a 7 definitely. I think I agree on all the same points. I don't want to kind of repeat the same exact thing, but I feel the exact same way. I'm very curious for the next episodes, and I'm very excited. I want to see where this goes, and I want to see what kind of upgrades we're gonna get in this vending machine.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I will say it's no Handyman Saito. Like that's probably my favorite isekai I've ever watched.
I love it.
But I'm gonna have to give this a 5. I'm in the middle. I have no real dislikes about it, other than the fact that I think the concept is a little silly.
I feel like we need to come up with a better rating system than 1 to 10 because if you're giving this a 5, I'm very curious to see what you're gonna give the last one we watched, which I want to talk about next.
The last one,
Yeah.
okay, well,
All right, wait, let us just get over
yeah.
this.
So I'm giving this a 5 just because I'm just neutral. I'm in the middle.
Didn't wow you, right?
It didn't wow me. I thought it was a fun watch,
No swords.
no, but it wasn't
There
exciting.
were magic.
Um,
There was
So-
fan service for you, Chris.
a tiny amount of fan service.
Yeah, Chris likes them big.
This on
Big
my
fan
anime list got a 6.53.
Okay, so it's
So-
in the middle of
all of us, yeah.
ours.
There
Yeah.
you go.
We'll
So that'd
see
be
as the show
excellent.
goes on
That's
if
accurate.
that, if that
All right.
is higher.
Yeah, because that's only for the first episode.
Do you want me to get the Crunchyroll rating?
No, let's just stick with my anime list so we can move on because I know we don't have much time
Right.
left. But
So
Yeah.
the next show,
Mm-hmm.
the girl I like forgot her glasses.
not an isekai despite the
Slice of life.
overly
Slice of life.
complicated, simplistic title.
Should we go over this synopsis first?
Yeah, you want to dive
you want me
into
to read it?
Yeah, dive into
Okay,
it.
synopsis from my anime list. As the desk mate of I May. It's a interesting name. A lot of characters nowadays have the name I, though. I'll point that out.
Ooh.
Recently.
Recently, yeah. Kaide Komura always has his attention fixed on her. Attracted by her cute charms, all he wishes for is that she would look at him with those beautiful eyes underneath the glasses. But just a few days after making her acquaintance, Kaide notices something different about Ai. Her eyes are squinting and her glasses are missing. Nonetheless, he still finds her adorable. Unexpectedly, Ai has a tendency to forget her glasses. Having terrible vision, she has difficulty going through her school day. Thankfully, Kaide is more than willing to help her. As Ai starts relying on him, Kaide's feeling for her grow even more. Likewise, despite her short-sightedness, Kaide slowly becomes the person Ai always hopes to see. Now, that does not necessarily cover the first episode.
Kai becomes the person I always wants to see.
Kaide, likewise, despite her short-sightedness, Kaide slowly becomes the person I always hopes to see.
I is the guy.
I is the girl.
I said Kaide's despite not being able to see.
Well, no, it's okay. So as I starts relying on him, Kaide's feelings for her grow even more. Likewise, despite her short-sightedness, Kaide slowly becomes the person I always hopes to see. So despite her not being able to see, she hopes to see him even more. Is that it's
Well, that's what I said.
it's a confusing sentence, but she hopes to see him, Kaide.
Because I was like, he already likes her straight off the rip from what
You know
we see in there. He has a
He
whole. He almost gets isekai.
Daydreaming.
They could have easily flipped this.
Yeah, then he
on
becomes
its head.
glasses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what they would do.
that would have been the story right there.
Yep.
I became the girl I liked, glasses, blah blah blah.
Spinoff series.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or maybe that's at
Alternate
the end when he's like
Multiverse.
he's about to confess his feelings and then
A vending
dead.
Hits
machine
by a
falls on
truck.
him.
Yeah. But it was I had read this years ago, I think. The story was it's one of those classic desk mate stories like my strange friend, I think it was.
Very basic. Like very
Very
basic.
basic.
School life.
Yeah, it's one of the other few though that they interact more with each other, and it's not just a stale one-sided thing from like one's perspective
Or,
the
like,
whole time.
Very mysterious. You know?
Yes, but it the story I will say the first episode story was very boring compared to the animation for the first episode because it's him for the first third spending the time daydreaming. Then they introduce them. Then it goes into the main plot point that she loses her glasses. She left them at home. And then he's helping her throughout the day and kind of being really self-conscious about it. And then at the end, the following day when she gets him back, was supposed to have him back, still doesn't, relies on him, but then tricks him that she has contacts. But I felt like what it needed to either be more gag and comedy, or it needed a more interesting story going on, because I felt very bored when watching it until the end where we start to see the stuff with the dodgeball. That I think was that.
That was towards the end.
Yeah,
where he steps in front of her to protect her, and then but she gets close to him and he gets flustered, and then the kid in front of him is just like, "You're out," and just like tagged him.
Because I think in Deskmate series, they're more comedic than this was. This was more like trying to focus on the romance, at least for the beginning. But in the other ones, it's always something comedic or funny going on that like just adds more to it, because it's just like, well, nothing's ever going to get answered for a very long time, so we might as well make you laugh.
Yeah, I think this was really carried by the animation studio for the visuals and the type of shots that they actually did within the episode, and even like when she falls asleep at her desk and gets up and like moves around, like the hair movements,
Very
the,
beautiful.
the particle lighting that you can see,
Yeah, or the dusty classroom,
and
as Chris
stuff.
said.
Yeah, they need air purifier.
There's a lot of specific details which I think are really good in the show. I think this would have been, a lot better if we had more stronger points in the story of either some comedy or maybe an issue that was happening that they were trying to problem solve, whatever it may be. But I do think the animation.
Pause.
Ad break.
That's still going.
The animation carried the episode.
That's what I was gonna say. Animation definitely carried. The opening shot was angle and perspective I've never seen in anime before, and that kind of continued throughout.
Yeah.
I feel like it falls off a little bit toward the end of the episode, but it's something I've never seen. Like I said to you guys, I think it was projection mapping. They map a 3D space so they can have a 2D camera move like 360 in that space, and I thought that was really, really well done.
I think from what I was saying, I think they built the 3D environment and they just played around with it a lot. But it could be that too, but it was definitely unique. I 100% agree with that. It's definitely not something I've seen, especially with a lot of other CGI ones. It felt like they were trying to like make it feel more like involved, like a video game and things like that. It just giving you crazy weird angles that like you wouldn't necessarily see, and that one continuous shot when they get to the school and they do a bunch of 360s around the characters and then like angled up and then back down was like really great.
I don't think it matches the tone or what the story is. Like it definitely doesn't fit together.
And that's what I was saying. Like it either needed to like really play up some other emotion in it,
right?
Because it wasn't fitting in everything for it in
but
there.
Then it had me thinking, like, if this is a show about someone's eyesight and we're getting these interesting angle perspectives, maybe it might play in a little more.
Yeah, I think it'll get better. I really do think it will. And it seems like it's going to be more interesting going along. It just was very, very slow and hard to grasp around this.
I agree. Throughout the whole episode, I was cringing. I think the main character, Kaide, is very frustrating when it comes to interacting with He's scared. He won't even wake her up
in
when
love,
she's sleeping
Chris.
in class. I don't care. Like,
there was
we
do have to talk about that one scene where it's just like, this is really dumb directing, where the teacher catches her asleep and he's like, no, she's just looking at it really hard, and then she rolls over and she is asleep, but yet he's the only one who realizes when the teacher's looking directly at her.
Literally a foot away.
He like tries to cover up for her. He's like, oh yeah, she forgot her glasses. She has to look at it really close. That's what's going on. It's like, oh, well,
so she can't see, which means her ears don't work.
Exactly. Ears doesn't work. Can't hear anybody. She's using too much focus power, on her on that eyesight. But
right after that, it gave us a little tidbit of she was wearing contacts.
Yeah, that was the next scene.
That was the next day, yeah.
Yeah, she didn't have her glasses that day.
That finished up the rest of this, and then
because that was right after the gym class, when she was asleep in class.
Oh, you might be right. I was, to be honest, I was dozing off a little bit just because of how boring it was. Yeah, but yeah, let's wrap up with our.
All right, what are your ratings for this one?
I'll give it a 4.5.
I'll give it a 5 just because I like the animation.
I'll give it a 4.
Yeah,
animation was great, but it's going to pain me to get through this whole series. I will tell you now.
4 was solely for the animation for me.
Yeah, 4 points to animation, storyline, characters, 0.
Yeah,
sorry.
And what was
my anime list got 7.11.
Wow.
Yeah, surprising. But people love a good romance.
Yeah.
We know you don't like romance, Chris.
Yeah. And finally, the last series we watched was, this is not in chronological order, but the last series we're going to talk about is The Gene of AI, which is my favorite out of the 3.
This was we did look at the spring list during last episode,
Summer list.
during the spring episode finale, but I had much more hope for this because I'd seen the trailer and everything, and I'm sure it'll get better and the quality and the budget's there, but that story, I don't understand the world. I really don't understand
They
it.
didn't do enough explanation.
Well,
I
the
was
thing
really trying
is,
to
you
figure
have
out.
to pick it out in the dialogue.
No, but even the dialogue too was only one line kind of answered any questions for me, which was the one line where she's the one humanoid, which we still don't even really know what a humanoid is and their purpose or why.
Very
But
vague how they.
But I
explain
think
it.
that's
they're
the
only
whole
giving you
point.
little pieces at a time while you.
Yeah,
I
Yes.
think that's the whole point. It's to
Because you
show
didn't
that
know about
it's
his
supposed
mom.
to make you
you can
think.
you can do that.
Yeah.
I definitely agree with that. There's definitely some really big philosophical things in here and like thought provoking questions, but you can still be shrouded in mystery and want people to like tune in and piece things together, like Heavenly Delusion did.
Right.
Which I'll talk to you after this because I talked to Chris Patton. He's like, I didn't pick up on any.
I
of that.
missed a lot.
Yeah,
and, I had
and
to
he was
give
like,
it a
"Oh,"
rewatch.
but because the line because I'm like, are humanoids? There's humanoids and there's humans, and I don't know. Are humanoid? It wasn't very clear if humanoids were humans that like got fully tricked out because this is a sci-fi future story. Chris will read the synopsis in a second, but there's only one line towards the very end that says when they go out to eat, and she's like, "Oh, why do you think they programmed us to eat?" And then it says like the something corporation model whatever. When they're doing the like scan of the woman before they like when she's deciding to do the backup and he's reading the doctor's logs and he's like model whatever from Psycho Corp
I think they're
canceled decision,
because they have.
but it's model.
But no. The patient. They said the patient canceled,
Yes.
and then they do the model. But my thing is this: when they do the scans, it's clearly human brain.
I don't know. That's what I don't know. That's what's not
mean,
clear.
We're gonna have to watch
Because
and find out.
because to me it seems like there's a corporation who's making these robots and programming them to want to eat and also putting enough out in society that they are being able to adopt human children, have full lives, get married, and work and contribute to society. Which it's like, but why would you need to go so far and keep doing that when humans are still around? There doesn't seem to be any destruction to like the environment. It doesn't seem post-apocalyptic that it's like we need more people for the workforce and we had to replace it with a large portion of humans and everything with the humanoids to replace the humans. But why don't you read the synopsis and maybe that'll give us a better peer into it that the episode didn't.
Yeah, let me read the synopsis.
But yeah, because as far as I can tell too, it seems like our main character, who we are assuming is human, but I'm curious because at the beginning the mother has to make some decision for some sort of medical service
to get him back.
that involves
Or copy.
neural nets, being copied. But he has the main differentiating is humanoids have oval shaped,
like toads.
Well, yeah, like toad eyes, like when Naruto goes Sage mode.
Yeah.
And then normal humans have just regular pupilled eyes. Because there's also that point where that kid's getting an upgrade to get like a built-in,
Video game.
a cell phone essentially in his brain. But yeah, what is it?
So the synopsis for The Gene of AI from my anime list says, the science fiction omnibus depicting a doctor who treats robot and humanoid problems takes place in the near future, when humanoids with artificial intelligence account for 10% of the population. The main
Seemed
character,
larger.
Dr. Pseudo Hikaru, also has the undercover name Magadit, who performs illegal medical procedures. For example, for a man who inadvertently infects his humanoid wife with a computer virus, when illegally backing up her data, Dr. Pseudo proposes an operation that will rewrite her memory using backup data. Could an existence replaced by backup data truly be said to be the same as it was before? That's all it says.
Yeah, that's again perfectly summed up the episode. But
Right.
yeah, I do agree. There's a great philosophical aspect to this, which that makes me want to continue watching it and see like what more goes on about like with the whole problem of the wife being her current person, whether she is a human become robot or full robot or whatever, which we don't know still, becomes corrupted.
Well, I think based off the synopsis, it says, I don't remember if I said android or humanoid,
See?
but it's artificial intelligence.
So
I
they're
don't
not
think
people.
I don't think they're people.
Which okay, but then that brings me to the question: is why does there need to be so many? Why do they
It's
have?
too vague. It's not
Why do
enough
they?
explained
Why are they
to hook me
living?
into it.
They paying taxes, eating. Yet they have
But
to
I think
physically
what
eat.
the show is trying to do is question what it means to be human or be
This feels
alive.
like Westworld, where it's going to be, you don't know who's really a robot, and it's all just one
Well,
giant.
we will know
social
who's
thing.
really a robot.
But
with
that's the
their
thing
eyes.
is, they thought they knew, and then it was just a bigger divulsion of it in there.
I personally really liked the show, even though like they don't give a lot of information about the world or what's really going on. Throughout watching, you know, our current world now, we are interacting with AI, and you know, it's interesting to think we could possibly get to the point where people we talk to are humanoids, AIs,
Yeah.
right?
Okay. Yeah.
We're getting kicked out here.
Yeah.
I
But-
can give my rating if you
Yeah,
want.
give
Yeah,
your
give your
rating.
rating.
My rating's a 4. A 4. I didn't get
I'll
hooked
have.
at all. Very good.
I do agree with that. It's a 4 for me. You need to say what you need to give me right at the beginning, a narrated overlay of the setup, and then give me all the other goodness of the things that are going on.
I'm gonna give this a 6. 6 because I like the story. I'm very interested. Makes me think a lot. But real quick, I'm just gonna say the art style doesn't match the tone of the
Yeah,
writing.
it doesn't.
It needs to be darker. This feels like watching Digimon, where it's in a.
It needs to be
vibrant
a
world.
higher production,
But,
which
yeah.
it doesn't.
Hate to be cut short, but
Yeah. Well, we wasted quite a bit of time,
Yeah.
setting up Christopher.
sorry, I got bathroom issues.
But yeah, this has been fun. The short episode, which is fine. It'll drop on that. Find us. Let us know what your thoughts were.
Yep.
This is
everybody.
thanks for
Team
tuning
Umai,
in. TeamUmai,
signing off.
AniUmai. Find us at Otakon if you're listening to this then or now or who knows or the next convention. But
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.